He's got a new video here about Brendan. Brendan Schaub still doesn't get it. Let's go.
The amount of toughness you have to get all that to still keep going, and then like after the stand-up thing, you're still getting people on like Reddit and YouTube talking. If there was a group of people that was over 100,000 that on me every day, I'm jumping off a fucking bridge.
I get all of it. I get it. I get it. It's all good. I get it.
So you're saying you get the hate?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, I get it.
Well,
I get the heat, but you also got to give me a little credit. You compare it to, Schultz and Thiel. I get it, but now,
but those guys have been doing. Hold on.
Well, here's my thing though. I don't have any anger towards them. I get it, and I get it. I burst on the scene. I'm f***ing selling out every Brea 5-6 shows, but I get it because think about it, they're grinding. It's a tough grind, and I burst on the scene. I'm selling it out within a year, especially from the comics. I get it, dude. I get it. That stuff never bothered me. I literally want to come like, I get it, dude.
Brendan Schaub has just started his I Get It tour, and it's a full-on copium-fueled revisionist history from a man who refuses to accept the very essence of reality. This guy has more eras than Taylor Swift, and now that the Austin, Texas experiment has failed, he's trying to lean into the hate with the help of some guy that no one's ever heard of. Seriously, who is this guy? I googled his name and nothing came up. I don't know, I think he's a comic book writer or something.
Seriously, who is this guy? One thing about Nick, he's gonna make it happen. He's gonna make it work. He knows exactly what to do. He's already befriended Callan. He's now sucking up to Rogan. No, sucking to Brendan. Next up is Rogan. Don't be surprised if you see Nick Simmons on Rogan very, very soon. He definitely knows what he's doing. He definitely knows what he's doing.
But this whole attempt to diffuse the haters by acknowledging it in every episode of The Fighter and the Kid is so lame. They're even trying to use it as a marketing tool to lure people over to their new Patreon, as if watching Brendan Cope reacting to Reddit posts is premium content.
Oh boy. Point of view, Brendan Schaub finally breaks in the comedy mothership.
It's me, Austin!
That is legit hard to watch, and that's not what they think it is.
So fake.
The whole narrative that Brendan should lean into the hate and it's going to be the thing that gets everyone back on side is just another false hope brought to you by the big brains over at Thick Boy Studios. Yet again, Brendan completely misreads the situation. Saying, yeah, I get it, over and over again doesn't mean what he thinks it does. He's trying to convince us that he's evolved over the years and now he has the wisdom to see things for what they are, without actually confronting the reason people reacted the way they did in the first place. The reason this whole thing blew up wasn't because he failed. It was because of his inflated ego and sense of self-entitlement that saw him destroy everything he touched, because he wasn't able to acknowledge and realize that he was almost always in the wrong place at the wrong time. But instead of unpacking that, Brendan now thinks the solution is to lean into the memes. And this latest episode of The Fighter and the Kid just made things worse, because
I think he makes a good point there, but I would say most likely what he also, I'd say what I'd correct there is say he was in the right place at the right, no, he didn't, he was right, yeah, right place, right time. So if there's a segment of people out there that don't like Brendan because of his attitude and how he used to walk around like his shit don't stink, back when he was coming up and getting all those chances, it seemed like, to us anyway, watching on the outside, that whenever he was kind of ascending, he kind of came across like somebody that was, every time he ascended, every time he got a big opportunity, every time he got more success, he always assumed that was just down to him being just this savant, this like, the next Joe Rogan, so amazing, so cool, so whatever, when without really acknowledging the fact that this could just be the fact that you're in the right place at the right time. You're surrounded by all these people who are also very famous and doing very well, and it's sort of like a lightning in a bottle type of situation, as opposed to him thinking, no, I am the reason why I'm this so amazing because I've done this single-handedly by myself. If you have anything to say negative or counter that, then you're a troll, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. So I think that might have played a part in some people's decision to not like the guy, but I could be wrong.
Along with their new cringe-ass segment reacting to Reddit posts, the clout-chasing comic book writer they brought in to spice things up is trying to bait Schaub into talking about his failed comedy career because he knows it's infinitely more interesting than listening to Diaries of a Baseball Dad.
Me and you remember when we met? That's how we first met after the whole don't count thing. That was like one of the first questions I asked. Like, you were actually super cool about breaking it down, like, because me and you started at the same time. That's why it's crazy when people give you shit. Because, like, could you imagine, you put out your Showtime special, what, 2 years into in comedy?
Yeah.
I was performing at laundromats for no one paying attention in New York City, just nobody. If someone offered me millions of dollars to not be performing to people who weren't paying attention, anybody who says they wouldn't do that is a liar.
No, I think it's like,
To your credit, though, you always called yourself the CM Punk of comedy.
I was just gonna say that. Like, I would start the set if anyone came. I'm like, I'm the CM Punk of comedy.
Yeah.
Like, you guys would be doing the same thing, man.
You were also offered a lot of money, like really early. So like you were offered a lot of money by Showtime.
So much money.
And it was like, and I was like, I remember going, no, you can't do this. But you were like, but it's a lot of money. I got to do something.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a weird time, but I also get it. It's like there's comics 10, 15 years in who don't get to that level. And I'm 2 years in and it's been popping. I'm selling out every weekend, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you gonna do though?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but
it was
he
wild.
was so already kind of famous. Like UFC, the podcast was number 4 in the world, maybe number 2 at one point.
Yeah.
Like we were huge.
Like, I can see how people would get upset. It'd be like if, you know, a kid just started baseball and 2 years in, he's starting for the Dodgers. Like, bro, there's guys that work their whole lives. Like, I get it.
So earlier on in this episode, they were getting AI to write jokes like Brian Callen, which, as you can imagine, was actually funnier than anything Brian, Brendan, or the comic book writer have ever said on stage. But then they got into Gringo Puppy 2 and how someone could revive it using AI once it was trained up well enough, and then Brendan said, yeah, but with puppets. And that's why this episode of The Fighter and the Kid is titled Gringo Puppy 2, but with puppets. Like, seriously, that's it. This is what I mean. They think they're leaning into all the memes about Schaub, but they're not even scratching the surface. They're clutching at straws and trying to clickbait everyone.
Oh, the puppet thing is the tie-in with that guy in it. Who's that puppet? That puppet that was I forgot how that meme linked, by the way. Does anyone understand the law of that? Is it Feltman? That purple puppet thing that was going viral for a bit on the fucking homeless Reddit, on the TFATK subreddit. What was that all about again? Did he? Oh, I think that was what it was. I think he had a show, right, that got cancelled. No, he had a big show, Brendan stand-up show, that I think got cancelled because he didn't sell enough tickets. But then he obviously lied about it, or why he didn't. Yeah, that's it. We got Randy Feltface. That's the one. He lied about why he didn't sell why he's cancelled the gig. It's because he didn't sell the tickets, and then that Randy Feltface took that booking last minute and sold it out, innit? I think that's what happened. And then that's what the meme came online about. Oh my god, look, Brendan can't sell tickets, but he's getting outsold by a puppet or something. I think so. I don't know. I think that might be the reason. I could be mistaken.
Into watching their podcast again instead of all the videos everyone else is making about them. That's what frustrates Schaub. Every week there are new videos coming out about him which get more views than his own shows do, and there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. Well, except for getting them taken down. Get this, after losing a 2-year lawsuit to Kyle Swindells, who has that YouTube channel Unique, just last week he took down another one of his videos which will no doubt end up in another lawsuit. Like, the guy just cannot stop. I'm just waiting for the inevitable. I've got nothing to do with this. It's out of my hands. My pro bono beast lawyers are taking care of this. I blame the team. Rinse and repeat. Now, when you think about the phenomenon of Brendan Schaub versus the man himself, you can sort of understand where he's coming from in a way. There's this whole ecosystem built off the back of his name and likeness that he himself cannot participate in. That's why they're trying to lean into it now. They're effectively trying to get in on all the hate, and that's a pretty wild concept to get your head around. Yet no matter how hard they try, nobody seems to give a flying fuck and would rather watch them through commentary channels than the original content.
That's the funny thing, isn't it? Like, that's an interesting place to come to, isn't it? your show's not doing well, you're trying to revive it, you want to think of ideas to get it back up and going, give it a kick up the arse, and the only thing you can think about is to tap into a Reddit or to a group, a community of people that have never liked you from the beginning. You know what I mean? You're never going to convince people that don't. Brendan's never going to convince anyone that doesn't like him to like him suddenly by leaning into Reddit jokes or, you know what I mean? Or referring to the special that everyone hates. It's like, it's not going to, it's too late for that. Like way too late. It's over. It's done. You're better off just focusing on making ideas of how you can make the show better itself, which they don't ever seem to do, by the way. I don't ever see them. I don't ever get the feeling they've ever sat down and tried to brainstorm ideas of how they can make the show itself more entertaining for people to watch. They're just gonna keep doing the same thing until the day they both die. It's like, come on, bro. Like, yeah, I mean, the Reddit thing ain't gonna work. Nobody cares. You should probably just think of ideas of how you can actually, you know, please the fans that you have left still. Like, come on, bro. Come on.
That's what I think is behind Schaub going after Unique again. Brendan and his producer Chin have gone to all this effort to capitalize off the hate.
Big up Young Old Vibes, knowing when to move on to Gift. I'm gonna go back on what I said before about the whole quitting thing. I don't think you even need to quit. I know I've said it before. I think I say it more for Callan. I think Callan definitely needs to know when to quit. I think the idea of Callan doing those videos where he sat in his bright white Tesla screaming at the microphone, over enunciating at the age of 70, 80 is fucking depressing as fuck. Yeah, I know he's got the alimony and shit, but bloody hell, man, figure something else out. There has to be a finishing line. But if you're Brendan and you just enjoy doing this sort of stuff, it's easy, it makes you decent money, you can keep doing it. No one's telling you to quit that, but at least figure out some interesting, cool ways where you can kind of mix up the content a little bit, refresh it without doing what he's currently doing now, which feels like a little bit of a humiliation ritual, because deep down he doesn't want to talk. Deep down, this if Brendan was flying high like he was back in the day when he had Ferraris and fucking Porsches and shit, there's not a chance he's got even Nick Simmons on the pod. There's not a chance Nick Simmons even sits there, you know, let alone brings up the fucking Reddit because he thought he was too good for it. Now all of a sudden you want to come down in the mud. It's like, nah, just stay over there and focus on trying to make the show better for the fans instead of doing this like weird back and forth with the Reddit and they're not even listening. It's like, or watching. It's so weird. It's weird.
And everybody else just clips it up and gets more views. So stick around, I'll try and keep you updated on that situation as it unfolds. But let's get back to Brendan's I Get It tour because the irony is off.
Big up Cole. What's that? Any chance of a Chin and Brows We Don't Close palette cleanser? You want to watch Chin and Brows? Or do you want to just see Chin and Brows' profile? If you want to rewatch that video again, I'll put it on again. Then the music video or something if you want to. It's remember, choose wisely, by the way, because when I put that stuff on, some people cry in the stream chat, so choose wisely. If you want to see some Chin singing content with little brows, let me know in the stream chat, but you know, think about that carefully before you do, because I'm more than happy to play it, but when I play it, don't cry.
The charts. Like you just saw in that last clip, Comic Book Nick brought up how they started out together in comedy, and Brendan ran with it, yet completely missed the point.
Now think about it. Most comics, for the first 10 years, no one's really seeing it. Like you can work things out. There's no pressure. Nobody knows who you are. Now go over to my lane where I can't go anywhere.
No, and you're doing the fucking
You go to
story and
Ireland,
shit.
Conor McGregor was showing.
Dude, I can't go to open mics. Like that's not even an option for me. So like anywhere I go, it's like I'm getting criticized. And then I got to keep up with the game and post, you know, clips and stuff for the clubs to sell tickets.
Lies.
So then I got to post clips that people are comparing to Theo.
Well,
and
you were
D'Elia.
also thrown into, like, think about this.
Such
He's been
lies,
doing
such
stand-up
lies.
for 20 minutes. Okay, and when you like.
I hate this the most about Brian. Where he jumps in White Night, not even White Nights, where he jumps in and defends him like a fucking mother would defend their child or something, you know? It's so pathetic. He's a grown-ass man. Let him explain. Let him lie. Let him explain his life fully, please, without you jumping in. No, actually, what he's trying to say, it's like, ugh, yuck.
You would say you were in for 2 years. Really, you've done. I could probably count.
Find the Kid Lives.
Yeah, I mean, but
Which
you
isn't-
probably did. You probably performed, and I'm not joking, By the time he shot that Showtime special, I'm going to make a call. I bet you he performed a total of 40 times.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm not joking. Maybe. By the way,
kind of
maybe.
impressive.
That,
right?
yeah.
To say the least.
Don't get me wrong. The hour, if you compare it to Schultz and Theo, I get it. But now,
but those guys have been doing. Hold on.
Well, here's my thing though.
That's like 4 weeks stand up in New York,
dude. Show. But hold on.
You know what's bad about what he just said there, by the way? You know what's bad? Because it's all a lie, basically, right? It's all a lie. Oh, because no, sorry. What he said here, Brian obviously exposed him, basically, which is interesting because Brian started off like he was going to defend him and then inadvertently exposed him by saying that, you know what the truth is? You actually only got on stage 40 times before you did the fucking Showtime special. But you know what's funny? During that whole entire time before the Showtime special came out, he was telling the audience sets and reps, sets and reps. That's where that whole fucking term came from. Sets and reps, sets and reps. Because that's something Rogan used to always talk about. Oh, to be good at stand-up, you have to do it. You have to go up all the time. You have to pass the magical 10-year threshold. And then suddenly when you pass that threshold, you're funny. Which is obviously not the truth. Because Rogan's fucking horrendous. But Rogan would always talk about the importance of getting up and performing as much as possible. Going to open mics, going to random clubs, and if you've got clout, allowing them to fucking asking if they can kind of let you have some stage time. Boom, 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 boom. So it's funny now that he's saying, oh, it's actually kind of impressive that I got that Showtime special after doing only 40 shows. When before he got the Showtime special, he was lying or maybe exaggerating how much he was getting up. You know, he was trying to make it seem like he was playing the stand-up comedy game properly, and he was trying to do things the right way by getting up as much as possible. But the truth is that Brian inadvertently revealed was that Brendan wasn't getting up at all. He was just performing at the fucking TFATK live shows, which we knew, by the way. I think I spoke about it, or it was on the Reddits. People knew that he wasn't doing any open mics. He was lying about that whole thing and just performing at the TFATK fucking live show, which is fucking hilarious, by the way. Imagine practicing for your live special, just performing to your Homer crowd every week. You know, that's probably not the best way to figure out if your jokes are working or not. You know, but hey, what do I know?
Film their first. So have them when they were very first starting. Have them do an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good luck.
I'm just saying. They're like, well, I get the heat, but you also got to give me a little credit.
Not really.
Look.
So it started out with Schaub admitting that his comedy career was fast-tracked to Schaub claiming he deserves credit, which makes absolutely zero sense. Seriously, this is his argument. I was super famous, so when I released my first comedy special after 2 years in the game, it got more attention than most comedians would that early on in their careers. That's why it was so shit, therefore I deserve credit. Bro, that is the point everyone's been trying to make for the last 10 years. That's precisely the reason why you don't deserve credit. In Brendan's mind, the fact that his first special got more attention than most comedians get in their first 10 years is somehow still a flex to him.
No, I think what he was also trying to say was that he couldn't properly practice. That's what I think he's trying to say. He was trying to say he couldn't properly practice and do the thing that regular comedians do, like go to open mics, because he was so famous. Like he had a level of fame that prevented him from doing comedy clubs because he was getting mobbed. That's what he wants you to believe, by the way. It's obviously not true. He wants you to believe that he was so famous he couldn't do open mics, and that's why his special was the way it was, because the only shows that he could do were his own shows, which is, again, complete bullshit, but I think that's what he meant.
He's still clinging to the fame and attention as proof that he belonged there in some strange way that makes absolutely no sense to me at all. He'll admit the outcome was bad, but refuses to accept that the whole premise was flawed. And it's not a complicated concept.
Oh, and by the way, the Conor McGregor thing is always a lie. I don't believe there's ever a scenario where Conor McGregor came to see Brendan perform stand up and Brendan didn't take a picture. I don't think there's ever going to be a scenario where Conor McGregor saw Brendan perform stand up, Brendan knew he was there and didn't get a picture with him. I don't believe that, because at that time Brendan was like the #1 Conor McGregor nut hugger. You know, he fucking loved him. So I don't think there was a chance he'd let that go by. So the fact that we don't have a picture of him and Connor in the green room after he performed is proof that that never happened.
He jumped the queue, embarrassed himself, and he's still trying to demand credit for the embarrassment. It's like he's bargaining with us. Yeah, sure, I got too much exposure too early on, but you've got to give me credit for getting too much exposure too early on. Like, bro, what? He's pissing in the toilet, then drinking the toilet water without flushing. Sorry, that's the only analogy that immediately popped into my head. Naturally, though, it gets worse, like much, much worse. This is going to be hard for some of you to watch, so don't say I didn't warn you.
But think about what he was thrown into. Like he would every Tuesday or every weekend at the Comedy Store, he was thrown into a lineup with people like myself who'd been doing it for 20 years. Joe Rogan.
You guys were
Bill
the murderers
Burr.
row of
we
that.
were murderers.
Of that time.
Diaz,
and I'm including myself in that.
Sebastian.
We were murderers. We would go up there.
I've not heard that term in so long. Nick Simmons is definitely one of those fucking comedy scene ass kissers, isn't it? He's definitely someone that he definitely wants to be Rogan's friend. So don't be surprised to see him on Rogan, like I said. But I can't remember the last time I heard the term murderers row. Assassins. I don't think even Rogan says assassins as much. These guys, man, just focus on being funny, please, right? We don't need this hyperbole. Just focus on maybe telling, having your specials be at least 50% funny. Just focus on that. Forget trying to be a murderer. Forget trying to be an assassin, a killer, a Navy SEAL comedian. Can you not just be like conventionally funny in a like slapstick kind of way? Set up punchline kind of way. Just give us some jokes, please. Please.
It would be, all of us who had been doing it forever and at the peak, we were all at the peak. We were all at the boiling point of our sets.
Everyone was in their prime.
Killing. And then this guy would get up. In the middle of all that. Anybody want to try that? Anybody want to try that after they've been doing stand-up for a year?
Nobody, but nobody should. It's a false equivalency. It's a proposition or a challenge that no one will take up because it's dumb. No one would willingly. No one with sound mind would willingly go and try and perform in front of all those established comedians 1 year, 2 year into their career. It makes no sense. You go and play with your age mates. You go and play the people that are on the same level as you. But Brendan didn't because he thought he was better than the people that were the same level as him. So that's what you get in it. You can't purposely go play with the quote-unquote big boys, get shamed up, and then decide, oh no, you still have to give me credit for playing. No, brother, you got shamed up. You didn't need to go there. Simple as that.
Please, raise your hand if you guys want to step into that.
Let me know how it goes.
See what happens to you. But to your credit, because you were this giant fighter who had the balls, who would get up and tell a story, and you found your way through. And by the way, your sets were not bad up there. They just weren't. I watched.
They weren't bad. So what? Were they funny or no? Your sets weren't bad. That's another thing, by the way. These comedians, right? Remember when Gringo Pepper came out, or not? When You'd Be Surprised came out, there were some comedians that would chastise the audience, like, "Hey, you guys leave him alone. Why are you getting at him that way? Blah blah blah. At least he tried. Trying is a lot harder than being a troll on Reddit and all this shit, right?" The truth of the reality is, even behind closed doors, they were probably saying to themselves, "This guy's terrible," because they all saw Brendan do stand up before we did. Because people forget that Brendan didn't put clips out. I think maybe I think he started putting clips out just before Green and Puppy came out. He didn't put clips out for a while. He was like very anti-clips because he didn't want to get, mocked online and shit. So nobody in the public had any idea what he was like doing stand-up unless you actually went to his show. So all of these guys knew that he was terrible at stand-up. He puts out You'd Be Surprised. The audience and the viewers and the wider public react how they're meant to react. They fucking pan it. They destroy it. And then the comedians start telling you, "Oh, you're being unfair." Motherfucker, you were there on stage. You know how bad that guy was, like the fans are being unfair. You're the ones being unfair for not turning a blind eye to it and not making it stop sooner.
I mean, I saw it, and people gave you grace because they knew that this pro athlete who was a giant was up among the best comics in the world, Maybe, by the way, put that whole lineup in the pantheon of comics in the history of...
In the history of comedy. Brian, man. I don't think a single one of those comedians in that group has one special from that period that is heralded as one of the best. Brian doesn't have one. Rogan doesn't. I mean, it's like, what are you talking about? In the pantheon, like what? In the Hall of Fame, like Jesus Christ, man! And look, yes,
The greatest lineup ever.
I think it's the greatest lineup
At that time, you guys and the Cellar were just on, like, they had, and the Cellar was East Coast version where it was like Louis, Chappelle.
monsters.
So like that era was a fucking crazy time.
It was a renaissance, dude. From
That was a
2015
crazy
to 2020. I would look in that room and I was like, motherfucker, here we go.
Some of the best nights of all time.
For $24.
Yeah.
Hold up. The greatest comedy lineup in history was Brian Callen, Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, Joey Diaz, Theo, and Sebastian. Brian Callen just said that with a straight face.
Yeah.
Like, actually, the guy just released one of the most embarrassing comedy specials of his whole career, and he just called himself a straight-up murderer. And this is so typical of these guys. It started out as a moment of honesty from Schaub, admitting that he bit off more than he could chew, but then immediately switched into a brag session. Not once in this whole episode does Brendan actually admit that he never should have even attempted stand-up comedy. There is absolutely no self-awareness.
Exactly.
Instead, he's acting like he was forced to do comedy, and now he's challenging anyone else to try and mix it with all those stand-up murderers that Brian was talking about. It's like watching a baby taking their first steps. You get your phone out, line up the perfect angle, and then watch them fall flat on their face. Every fucking time.
Exactly.
And the thing is, everything stems from there for Brendan. He's acting like he was a household name when he quit the UFC, but the reality is he became famous for being the world's worst comedian, kept pushing back, and ended up falling flat on his face for years, just like that baby. But don't forget, Brendan gets it.
I get it.
You were
I
getting
get it.
judged amongst.
Well, because my friends are Theo, Brian, Chris, Rogan, and so it's like Joey Diaz. So when you run in that circle, people are like, "All right, buddy," you know, you're taking pictures with them, so, and, you know, and then you're at the store, the legendary store. I get all of it. I get it. I get it. It's all good. I get it.
So you're saying you get the hate?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I get the hate, especially when I was doing it. To continue doing it, it's like,
Well, that's why it's kind of
I'm a
crazy.
baseball dad. Dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're the most like roasted baseball team, like baseball out of all baseball coaches. No one gets more scrutiny than you.
Maybe the Dodgers coach. I don't know. You know,
No, I'm
but
saying when it
still.
comes to little league coaches,
I know.
Of course, let's compare ourselves to the Dodgers coach. Let's compare ourselves to the Dodgers coach. Of course.
you're getting
Yeah, just how it goes.
Gotta give you credit. No one, like me and Nick were talking about, like the amount of toughness you have to get all that to still keep going, and then like after the stand-up thing, you're still getting people on like Reddit and YouTube talking. If there was a group of people that was over 100,000 that shit on me every day, I'm jumping off a fucking bridge. I am not laughing.
If I got it, see, online's different because I came up with that.
I'm sure the comics that talk about you when they see you in person, all of a
They're
sudden,
the nicest.
yeah.
Yeah, but again, I don't have any anger towards them. I get it, because a lot of those comics, none of them were ever, great at the art, or they were trying to get there, but they just weren't successful.
The worst person ever that we've seen in modern history do stand up is now critiquing others and their stand up. It's fucking hilarious, isn't it? But they deserve it, innit? As an art form, as a collective of people doing something, they all deserve to have somebody as terrible as Brendan telling them that they were never that good anyway. You know? Super insulting, but I love it.
I get it. I burst on the scene. I'm selling out every Brea 5-6 shows, getting my bonus, and like, dude, I've been doing
Making real money.
stupid money.
Yeah.
And then also, I was making so much money. Like 2 years ago, I found a check from Brea I never cashed for like 62 grand, and I called them. I was like, "Hey, you guys cool?" And they're like, "Yeah, go ahead."
Oh,
They were
yeah.
cool.
Damn.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, they're like, "You earned
That's
them."
a nice
They're like, "We
gift.
can't believe you didn't cash that." I'm like, "Me either."
That's
Boy, I
nice
was
and
dumb
fine.
back in the day. But I get it, because think about it, they're grinding. It's a tough grind, and I burst on the scene. I'm selling.
Did you see Brendan's face? I didn't see Brian's face there. Brian's like, hold on, I never got paid 62 grand for a fucking weekend. Look at Brian's face after he kind of sits to the number. Look at Brian's face.
Get it, because think about it, they're grinding.
Brian, like, damn, I never got no 62. I'm about to be 62, but I never got 62,000 ever.
grinding. It's a tough grind. And I burst on the scene. I'm selling it out within a year. It's like, man, that guy. So especially from the comics, I get it, dude. And if they have podcasts, they're doing it and they get views, so they make money. I get it. That stuff never bothered me.
Yeah.
I literally want to call him. Like, I get it, dude. Are you making money now?
It's changing so rapidly, though, isn't it?
If you didn't catch it, Brendan gets it. But just at the beginning of that clip there, Brendan says he understands the hate when he was doing it, but now that he's just a baseball dad, he doesn't understand why it hasn't stopped. What he's really saying is, I stopped doing the thing everybody dunked on me for, so why won't you all stop talking about it? And that's the thing he still doesn't seem to understand. The backlash was never just about stand-up comedy. That's just how it started. The real issue was always his sense of entitlement, the arrogance, and his characterization of anyone who didn't think he was funny as a jealous loser. Don't forget, Joe Rogan said on his podcast years ago that people are intimidated by Schaub because he's tall, good-looking, and funny. That's what fueled Brendan on. He hung on to those words from Rogan so tightly that it cost him a lucrative career in the entertainment industry. So it's not just that he failed.
Imagine if part of the reason why he quit stand-up comedy was so that people could leave him alone. Imagine how sad that is. Imagine if he actually quit stand-up, not because of the reasons that we all think, that he's terrible, he couldn't sell tickets, he was given an ultimatum by his wife to stop fucking randoms on the road and come back home and be a family guy, or she's going to divorce him. Whatever scenarios, whatever theories, conspiracy theories we all have about why he quit. Imagine the actual reason why he quit was because he wanted to attempt to get the Reddit or just the hate in general for him to stop by him not doing stand-up. And it hasn't worked. Because like to Podcast Cringe mentioned, he hasn't realized that the hate was never really about Reddit. The hate was never really about stand-up. The worst thing, the hate was always about him as a person. And he can't change who he is, you know? The hate was never about what he was doing. It was always about him, who he is, how he acts, how he talks, how he behaves. But, you know, in his head, he's a great guy, beast of a guy. How could you hate him? He'll never understand it because he just doesn't understand why anyone would not like him for actual good reasons. So here we are. The infinite loop continues.
Comedy, it's that he failed so publicly and refused to accept it. He was handed opportunities he clearly didn't earn and then spent years telling the audience they were wrong for being critical of him. And you can hear it in how he talks about other comics there. Every time he claims he understands why people hated him, he immediately undercuts it by saying those people never got anywhere, they were broke or couldn't sell tickets or whatever. Even after all these years, he still can't process criticism without punching down on the people criticizing him. That is straight up copium. To this day, he still refuses to engage with the actual criticism. He's just repackaging it in a way to protect his fragile ego by playing the victim, which is the exact reason people didn't like him in the first place. I mean, it's kind of poetic in a way. If he truly understood why the backlash happened, this whole conversation would sound completely different.
Exactly.
It wouldn't be about how much money he was making. It wouldn't be about the fame. It would be about how he had no business ever stepping on stage with a microphone.
Exactly.
That's it. End of story. I guarantee you, Brendan, if you actually came out and said that and actually meant it, the internet would move on. I suck at comedy and I never should have stepped foot on stage. It was a mistake. And maybe throw in I blame Joe Rogan. But Brendan obviously can't say that because in his own mind, admitting he shouldn't have done comedy means admitting that everyone else was right, and that's something he's clearly incapable of doing. That's the Achilles heel for someone like Schaub, and man, would I love to hear him pronounce Achilles heel. Instead, we get this lazy-ass revisionist history. Every failure gets reframed as either a misunderstanding or a low-key win that turns into a humble brag about how much money he was making and how your boy was balling.
That's such a good point. I really didn't see that one coming though. That was a really, I wouldn't say that was really clever. That was a really unexpected one where he said, "Oh, you should actually give me credit for the Gringo Pappy, or no, for You'd Be Surprised, because I only did 40 shows before that." It's like, hold on, you want credit for recording one of the worst rated specials of all time. You think it's a good thing that you prepared for such a big event, right? Where you were giving a lot of money, you sold out a crazy big theater, all your fans came to support you. You want credit for only preparing for that show by doing 40 shows. You want credit for doing that. You're proud of doing that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Brendan might have spent more time on the details of his shoes that he wore for You'd Be Surprised, right? He might have spent more time talking to the shoe surgeon and figuring out the intricacies of how his Jordans would look than he probably did on the material. He probably spent more time on his clothes and all that shit than actually worrying about, oh, is this joke funny, yes or no? That's actually his real Achilles heel.
It's like, yeah, I totally understand where the hate was coming from. I mean, do you guys know how much money I was making? So even though Brendan said I get it 35 times throughout this entire episode, Brendan unfortunately doesn't get it.
Exactly. Egg fucking exactly. Does not get it in the slightest. Brilliant. Big up Podcast Cringy's back. He sounds a little bit low energy. I did like that clip. He did sound a little bit low energy, my guy Podcast Cringe, or he sounded a little bit over it. It sounds like he either low energy or he sounded like he's a little bit over, maybe talking about Brendan, talking about the Bappaverse anyway, or maybe it's the end of the year vibes, I don't know. But it sounded like he was a little bit, I've got to talk about this guy again. Rent's due, let's fucking do it. But big up Podcast Cringe anyway, very, 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 very necessary. Yeah, Cole, I'm covering the fight when it's on, brother. I'm covering the fight when it's on. It doesn't let me. I've got it on my phone now. I've got the fights on my phone. So, but it's paused now. So let me know if it's on live and it starts. Let me know obviously in the stream chat, and I'll switch to watching it, and I'll do a little reaction stuff on it, and then we can go from there. But I am going to be watching it on my phone when the fight does start. But I'm doing this for now, of course. Hopefully that makes sense. Big up Robert Henry Poet. Don't ever cover damn pointless fights. Just wait for the highlights. Yeah, you're right, actually. But, you know, I might as well do it. Now I'm here. I might as well do that. To be fair, you're actually right. But I'm here now, and I might as well just follow through. Big up Diana as well on the stream chat. Wagwan. I think he thought that wasn't natural but Rogan said he was funny. Yeah, I don't think so. I just think he didn't want to do the work. I think he had enough people around him that would have told him, that would have advised him to go and do more open mics, go and do more sets, sharpen yourself. But again, look where the advice is coming from. The advice is coming from other comedians who aren't that funny either. And I also fundamentally don't believe anyway, even at their peak. Remember when they were all talking about sets and reps and how many times they'd go out and perform? I just don't even believe that. I don't even believe the idea that these guys, the top ones, were going and performing in clubs 7 days a week and shit. You know what I mean? Doing 4 gigs in one day. Remember they all brag about, oh my god, I did so many gigs. I just don't even believe that. I don't believe all of it. I think all of them, if they can get away with doing less and getting as much as they can out of life, they'll do so. So I think in a way, Brendan was kind of just copying what his OGs around him were doing. They were just phoning it in. They were just doing material that they have done 17 years ago for a new audience again and again and again. And for a while, he got away with it. He got away with it, doing the same thing everyone else around him does. But at the end, the talent gap kind of paid the price, you know? The inability to be funny, to have anything interesting to say. That's what really fucked him over. But hey, what do I know, man? What do I know?